Hey everyone, so after playing Skull and Bones the past few days, here are my final thoughts. This is not a review given it's a live service game. I do, however, feel like I've gotten a good amount of time put into this to share with you all my honest thoughts on it. Thanks to Ubisoft for the key provided, regardless. So I've been playing this game since its early stages and the multiple beta this game has had. To those that may not have seen or kept up with the development of this game knows that it's been one rough ride. From internal conflicts to multiple delays, the direction as to where this game should have gone has been anything but clear. At last, we finally got to the point when this game is going to launch. I want games to do well, and Skull and Bones is no exception. But this is far from what anyone wants in a Pirates game. Outside of its flaws, and there are many, there are some redeeming quality this game has. There was various of different activities that you could complete. It ranges anywhere from the main story contracts, which wasn't engaging enough for me to really get into, world events, job boards, and bounty boards that rotate pretty regularly. So there's plenty of things that you can do in this game to keep yourself busier. The bounties, trying to take down a sea monster, and more. The first few hours this game can be a drag, at least to me, given the starter boat you get. But even after putting more time into this, there are certain things that leave me frustrated, which I'll go into more detail later. So infamy in this game is going to play a pretty big part in your progression, since a lot of the activities or cosmetics or weapons are going to be tied to that. You can play with up to 2 other players. Not only that, when you log in, you're being put into a server with a bunch of other players. I believe it could be up to 24. I might be wrong on this, so feel free to correct me. But those in the servers can request for your team's help, or vice versa if you're solo or having trouble on an activity you're trying to complete. Answer their requests or ignore it. I love the community aspect of this, and as someone who comes from playing a lot of Monster Hunter, the ability and option to help a fellow new player or the latter is definitely nice in these games. The best part to me about this game is the ship and naval combat. If you played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, then the sailing and navigating will feel right at home to you. Whereas for me, I don't think I put enough time into Assassin's Creed Black Flag or really remember how everything was in that game to make a good comparison. There are a variety of different ships you can acquire blueprints for and then craft, each serving a different purpose. You can fire from 3 different positions of your ship during combat with the cooldown before you can. Ships primarily for DPS, support, or tank depending on the playstyle you want. The different weapons you can acquire and equip on your ships. Alternatively, enemy NPC ships can have the same. It was cool to see how some ships you may fight may send torpedoes your way instead of the typical volleys of cannons you'd expect to see towards your ship, or shooting you with a flamethrower when you get close to them. Another neat thing I discovered when you're on land is you can see the ships out in the ocean. So if your friends are fighting other ships, you can witness it from afar. Outside of this, it's hard for me to recommend this game at the price point it's asking for. I'm honestly not sure if there's enough here to justify it. However, if you're on the fence and thinking about getting it, you can judge it for yourself. Now, if you're a viewer from Twitch, you already know my stance on this. However, for those that don't, it's hard for me to get behind live service games, especially when it's asking for $70 plus. But don't be surprised to fork over additional money to keep up with the content. This is excluding the microtransaction commonly featured in these types of games. Most for me as a consumer that I would be willing to pay for is $40, because over the course of a live service game's lifespan, I'm expecting to pay more for it as previously mentioned. Back on track, I'm not entirely sure what Ubisoft has in store for Skull and Bones content roadmap. Content enticing enough for people to want to coming back to play. Unfortunately, with live service, you know there's no guarantee you will have access to it years later if the game isn't supported by the publisher, developers, and or the player base. The point is, if the servers ever get shut down, you no longer have access to the content you paid for. Now, expanding more on the ships, while I do love the ride variety of ships in this game. After more time with this, I do wish that the ships were faster in terms of movement, since you do spend a majority of time on your ship sailing the seas to get to any place you want to go. Yes, the game does feature fast travel, but you have to pay in order to do so. Also, depending on what activity you want to participate in, you won't be able to fast travel either. Your ship has to follow the way the wind blows in order to maximize the speed you're going, or otherwise you're going to face resistance. Drastically slowed down, sluggish movement to me is frustrating. I can somewhat see what they were trying to go for to bring a bit of how it is in real life with sailing, but it feels excruciating annoying in combination with having to micromanage and constantly feed your crew because of their stamina drain. They could have done a lot more with this game with actual ground combat, since it's non-existent in this game, or when you board a ship to actually be able to fight NPCs. However, when you do, all you get is a brief cutscene and the ship is instantly destroyed. It feels like a missed opportunity here. Outside of this, there are different hub areas that function similar to St. Anne's, which is the first safe spot you'll spend most of your time at when you're not at sea until you explore and uncover more. At the non-hub locations, you can find hidden treasures or loot scattered on these islands you dock at to interact with NPCs to either obtain more quests or deliver items to. I think it would have been cool had they implemented land combat if you stumble upon an island and it was a hostile one where you had to fight your way out of it or take from the game it directly drew inspiration from, which was Assassin's Creed Black Flag. This is a big departure from that in my opinion. If you like the naval combat, there are certainly some things here I found fun, but other aspects around that, like the sailing, also affect my enjoyment. If you find yourself enjoying this game, more power to you. I tried to give this game a chance, but at the end of the day, it's not for me. When the gameplay loops revolve around gathering resources, why do some of them still show up on the map even though they're not available? Combined with the slow movement to get there, you just wasted a lot of time for nothing. I found it a chore to play the more time I put into this game given the reasons I've shared in this video. It's disappointing for those who were excited for this game given how long it's been in development. My journey with Skull and Bone has been a mixed bag. While the naval combat and variety of ships offer enjoyable moments, the slow movement, lack of ground combat, and frustrating gameplay loops have left me wanting more. Despite some redeeming qualities, it's challenging to wholeheartedly recommend the game at its current price point, especially considering what is there isn't all that great. As I bid farewell to this pirate adventure, I hope that Ubisoft takes the community feedback to apply to refine the game's shortcomings and deliver an experience that captivates player for the long haul, as well as apply the lessons learned to future games. Share your thoughts in the comments. Will you be playing this game? Thanks for watching and take care.